all-pervading personality of Godhead. For my respectful obeisance unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes, of the creation and destruction, and the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reaction to the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma Pujita Kaitra Vutra Paramo Nimatsanam Sitam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastri Shivadam Tapatrayam Mulam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Purir Ishvaraha Sadyo Hrite Aburudite Tra Krite Vihi Sususubhistakshana. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient within itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpatarurvam tam phalam sukha mukhad amritam dravyam samritam vibhata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur ahur rasika bhuvi bhavakaha. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juices was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse number 25. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Very famous verse by Kunti Devi. So purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Generally the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive, who have performed some pious activities, worship or begin to worship the Lord, Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. See, notice here, Prabhupada uses the word thriving. Thriving means they're being successful. They're living off of the success of misdeeds only. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constant remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. It's a very important sentence. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. So here's a completely different point of view than the normal point of view. The normal point of view is, don't give us any calamities. We just want to have good times. Here, the devotee is inviting you if Krishna wants. He's not inviting it in the sense, I want to suffer, but he's not looking at it as a negative thing. He's looking at it as a positive thing, because now he realizes, look, the only way out of this is if I keep meditating completely on Krishna. So it gives us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. The more you remember the Lord, the more you're prepared for leaving this material world. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nations, can achieve liberation as easily as one who leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger in every step. So, this means that we begin to understand the real face of material nature. And the face of material nature is cruel. And it's not an inviting place. It's not a place for a gentleman, as Prabhupada said. Because there are very negative things for spiritual life in this material world. But the material world can also be used as an impetus to prepare to go back to God. When you understand the real nature of the material world, you lose any attraction to it. Just like a friend of mine who called me up from Europe, and he's saying that although he's already been married, already has children, all the children are grown up, he's saying, I'm thinking of getting married again. I said, what? I said, you're 64 years old. Why should you get married again? Well, it will help my preaching. I said, how will it help your preaching? Well, when I go to certain countries, North Africa, they always ask me, are you married? And I say, I'm not married anymore. They look at me suspiciously. I said, yeah, but you're 64. I said, if you marry some young woman, they'll look at you suspiciously also. They think, what's that old guy doing with such a young woman? Right? So, what was that? So what if they look at you suspiciously? It depends on how you act. If they see that over time you're a very sincere devotee, that suspicion will go away. They said, that's right, but I've been talking to this one lady, and she's relatively young, only half my age, and she wants to marry me. I said, you could meet 1,000 women that want to marry you. Does that mean that you should get married? Look, you're already married, your children are grown up. Why do you want to encumber yourself like this? He said, well, she's a pretty girl. She's a very pretty girl. I said, so what? It's only skin deep. That beauty is only a 1 millimeter in diameter. The rest of the body is all stool. He said, that's a negative way to look at it. I said, that's a negative way. It's the reality. He said, well, if I look at it like that, I won't be attracted to any woman. I said, that's the whole idea. Don't you understand? So So you see how powerful these things are. I mean, people can be the rest of their life, they've been thinking like this, you know. And he's not the only one that's like that. I know other devotees, some of them are even 70 years old. They're looking for another life. As after having a wife and having children, children are grown, and so forth. So, this material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place, full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. It happened to the Pandavas. It happened to Lord Ramachandra. You don't think it's going to happen to us? Of course. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there's no tiger and there's no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. There you are. So, this is a wonderful purport by Prabhupada. It explains the real nature of the material world, and it teaches us how to see calamities. We should actually see them as positive, because it helps us to lose attraction to the material world and take complete shelter in the Lord. So, therefore, we see things, once one develops spiritual vision, completely opposite the way materialists see. This is the problem, to be able to handle that. Most people have difficulty handling it. Say, oh no, it's too difficult. You know, I want to join the group. Just like once there was a country, and there was this one man who was very pious. Most of the people were sinful. And one day he received a message from some saintly person who told him, next week, all the water is going to change in this country. And anyone who drinks it becomes crazy. He said, they're already crazy, but they will become crazy. He said, well, what should I do? He said, don't drink any of the water. I said, okay. So next week comes, the water changes. Everyone who drinks it goes crazy. In other words, almost everyone is crazy. And this one person didn't drink the water. And as time goes on, he starts feeling lonely because he's the only one that's not crazy. Everybody else is nuts. And finally he decides to drink the water to join the others. You see, it's not easy having the truth. It's better, sometimes people think it's better having ignorance. I can at least be with everyone else and enjoy. Just like, let's say you're just like Govinda Chandra. Is it Govinda Chandra? Huh? Gauranga Chandra, yeah. He told me like he's a leader in his company, and he has to take them out to dinner. And he has the credit card from the company to pay for the dinner. And he said, I'm not sure if it's right or wrong, but I'm paying for it. You know, I was taking them to the vegetarian restaurant. Then they complained to the bosses. They said, well, what's going on here? You know, why is he trying to force us to be vegetarian? We want to eat meat. He said, now I have to take them wherever they want to go, and I have to pay for it. I said, am I going to get any reaction? I said, yes. He said, well, what should I do? I said, give the card to someone else to pay for it. He said, but they might look at me suspiciously. I said, so what? You want to get the reaction, or you want to not get the reaction? You pay for it, you get the reaction. I said, just give the card to someone else, you can go pay for this. You see how material life is, right? You try your best, and then you're forced into doing something simple. So that's the nature of this world, and we have to be very, very careful. And anyway, there's a lot to discuss about this verse, but we'll leave it right now. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.